Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. A lot of things going on in the news this week. Just seems to be pretty busy as always. It's just a constant build up towards the end of our civilization. That's what we're watching, folks. Just more and more stuff, more chips, more cracks, more chunks being taken out of this civilization as we're watching it be purposefully destroyed to bring in some new era of some new utopian high-tech new world order. Anyways, get on with it. Russia and Ukraine, yes, lots in the news with Russia and Ukraine. Russia is saying, well, Putin actually has said that parts of eastern Poland are, well, kind of part of Russia because Stalin gave certain parts to Poland as a gift, and that he would make sure that the Poles remember that. Kind of a little underlying threat there, which is interesting because it's being reported that the Wagner Group has been in Belarus training Belarusian troops. Rumor is, don't know that this is true or not, but some foreign news outlets are reporting that the intel is that the Wagner Group is going to be used to secure the land bridge that goes from Belarus to Kaliningrad, which goes through, that's NATO territory, where that land bridge is. So that would be interesting to see how that all pans out. Both Russia and Ukraine have made threats to ships going through the Black Sea, stating that since there's no Black Sea grain deal, that any ship traveling through the area could be deemed as a threat and could be fired upon. So we're seeing increases there. Also, the United States is sending more Marines and more Navy ships to the Middle East because, you know, we got to bring them some freedom and democracy and peace at the barrel of a gun. Lots of other things happening. There was an explosion again at an airport here in the United States. It looks like a propane depot potentially exploded. There was just one the other day in Louisiana. A Dow chemical plant exploded. Maybe this is all just coincidence. I mean, we've had lots of coincidences over the last year or two. Maybe this is just more of them, or it could be all of those reported Chinese nationals that are coming across the border may actually be, I don't know, doing their thing. Who knows? It's hard to tell what's facts and what's fiction and what's just coincidence and happens and what is actually being purposely done. But there does seem to be an increase of all of these derailments and explosions, way more than I can remember in the past. The biggest news probably that happened yesterday is that the Federal Reserve has officially done their FedNow program. It is now official, and it is functioning, fully functioning FedNow program. Now, before you jump the gun and say, oh my goodness, you mean that CBDCs came out yesterday here in the United States? No, that's not what that means. FedNow is simply a digital system framework so that banks can transfer money to each other instantly. It could be used, most likely will be used, as the framework for central bank digital currencies here in the United States. But as of right now, it's not exactly happening. They've probably got to do this between the banks for a while to work the kinks out before it goes fully public. Remember that every nation on this planet signed a commitment at the United Nations a few years ago to move towards central bank digital currencies, every one of them. And that's why we're seeing pretty much the whole world move towards central bank digital currencies. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now, it's been reported that central bank digital currencies is going to take a while longer to happen here because they got to figure out how the banks are going to still exist. If we go to central bank digital currency, then there's really not much need for banks, and all of these big CEOs that kind of run, at least the big CEOs of the big banks kind of run the Federal Reserve. You know, where are they going to make their money? Where's all that going to happen? I'm sure they'll figure it out. Because if they have a way, if there's an opportunity for them to control your money even more, which it's now not a secret, it's not even really a conspiracy, that central bank digital currencies will control you and your money. I assure you that the Federal Reserve and the big banking cartel will most definitely jump in on that when they figure out all the bugs and kinks. It's also being reported, which is interesting, that we are on the verge of a recession. I mean, we've been hearing about recession for 2 years now. Oh, we are. No, we're not. No, we won't. Yes, we will. Oh, it's transitory, temporary, a little bit back and forth going. Well, I'm not the expert, but I would say that we have been in a recession for quite some time now. But they just won't tell you that. And if they don't tell the average American that they're in a recession, the average American won't believe that they're in a recession. It's amazing how that works, just this human psychology stuff. Yeah, I know what a recession technically means, and maybe we've only technically seen that downturn for a couple of quarters once, and even when that happened, they said it wasn't a recession. But the average American working blue-collar, middle-class and lower American has been feeling the effects of a recession for some time. But Reuters has been reporting that we are on the cusp of a recession. In fact, they're saying the prediction is that quarter 4 and quarter 1 of next year will be in a recession. Now, this is interesting that this is all over the news yesterday and today. So many outlets reporting this and talking about this, because just a couple or so days ago, and I reported on this as well on my channel, that both Janet Yellen and Jim Cramer, some of you may know who he is, both said almost on the same day that, oh, no, they don't see any signs of a recession. They think we'll completely avoid it. Most likely not going to happen. And then, 48 hours later, the news starts reporting that it's going to happen, and it's going to happen here really soon. Like we are on the verge, the cusp, that little cliff, that final little edge of a recession. Now, what will that mean for you and I if we've already been feeling the effects of a recession, and then we go into an official recession? I mean, they manipulate and control things so much. They manipulate and control the media and what you hear, and they control so much of what actually does happen. It's so hard to figure out what would happen once we are officially in a recession. I suspect it has the potential to be bad. We're probably going to see the job markets kind of take a bigger downturn. The job markets have been in a downturn. The only things, there's a few things that's making the numbers look good. A massive surge in people getting disability. I don't know what would have happened in the last 2 or 3 years that would cause a huge number of Americans to now qualify for disability, but apparently there has been something, and there's been a massive surge in the last year or so of disability cases. So those people that were once job seekers are now no longer unemployed or not employed at all. They're now in a different class. They're disabled, so they don't get counted. So it makes the job market numbers look a lot better. I suspect that things are just going to get tougher. I mean, there's all these signs of wheat shortages between the Ukrainian Black Sea grain deal, the droughts here in the United States, right in kind of the breadbasket of the U.S. That's going to hurt. We had the Pfizer plant explode, or not explode, but get destroyed by a tornado with 50,000 pallets of prescription medications. I mean, most certainly that's going to cause a shortage when we've already been dealing with, and it's not been in the news a lot, but if you do a little digging, you'll see that right now, not 6 months or a year ago or 2 years ago, but right now, we have been dealing with about the worst prescription drug shortage we've ever seen. There's massive shortages, and doctors are trying to figure out, there's actually been articles in the news where doctors are basically triaging their patients, trying to figure out who needs the medication the most, because the pharmacies can't come up with enough medication for all of the patients. So we're watching kind of the puzzle pieces being put into place that could indicate that we're going into a really rough fall and winter months, between, complaining about all the electrical shortage. It was an article, I think it was the New York Times, but I may be incorrect on the publication, just yesterday, talking about how blackouts could be really good for the environment. Yes, let's condition the people to think that blackouts are good. Yes, good deal. Okay, so we've got blackouts, we've got summer hot, gonna kill you dead. I'm sure it'll be the same way in the winter time. It's so cold, we're all gonna die, and there's not enough electricity to go around. We've got what seems to be World War III, NATO involvement in Russia and Ukraine, just on the cusp. I mean, it's just right there. We've got, food shortages, and that are going to increase, it looks like. I mean, wheat is about the #1 food product on this planet, and then corn isn't that far behind. Maybe they're kind of both bouncing back and forth, but corn hasn't been doing very good here in the United States in a lot of places. A lot of the places that it's really grown. You add all that to predictions that we're on the cusp of a recession, and then poof, we just developed and made public the platform that CBDCs will work on. It kind of makes you wonder if it's all being set up. We've got BRICS over here. We talk about that all the time. Well, just yesterday it was announced that 22 nations now have officially applied to be part of BRICS, and an additional 40 nations have been talking about it either publicly or hinting about the potential of being part of the BRICS group. All that's happening, and well, Americans, I don't know, I think they're getting tired of it. I think they're tired of the constant change, and that's how the civilization is going to collapse. That's how the New World Order, this great reset, is going to take place. Because people have grown so tired of the years, the months, the weeks after weeks of constant change and constant disaster and constant fear marketing in the media, that I think eventually most people are just going to tune it out. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Oh, well. You can't allow that to happen to yourself. It doesn't mean that you need to constantly be on edge, living in fear. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what it does mean is that you need to be getting yourselves ready. There's a lot of chaos that's most likely going to be coming at us. Chaos could look very different. It may simply just be food shortages and the amount of crazy people out there running around beating each other up, stealing stuff in stores, running around taking their clothes off, just craziness, assaults, violence, rapes. All these things are happening at really a hyper increased rate in the cities. And then you take away a bunch of food, or you make the availability less, or you turn their electricity off periodically, or you take away their ability to have paper money. All of these things could cause that boiling point, that tipping point where things get very chaotic. And that's not even saying something like a World War III or a nuclear strike. I mean, Canada, we reported this week that the Canadian government is looking at their nuclear preparedness plan and upping their training and stuff, because they feel that the world is closer to a nuclear kind of conflict. All of these things are happening simultaneously, okay? And we have to be ready for that, because when there's so many things happening at once, it greatly increases the odds that at least something major is going to happen. And so we have to prepare ourselves, continually getting ready, stocking up. I would be stocking up on food right now because, like I said, with the grain deal and the droughts, we're probably just a few months away to where we start to really see food increases go up again. Who knows what's going to happen with the digital money in the short term. We know what's going to happen in the long term, but who knows what's going to happen in the short term. So you have to start figuring out what you're going to do. Some of you don't have a lot of money. You're like me. You're like, wow, okay, let's see. I got $10 in my pocket. What do I do with that cash? Others, you have a lot more money. Nothing wrong with that. So you need to be figuring that out, moving it into hard assets. I've even talked to people that's moving their money overseas. I don't know if that's really going to help, because everyone's going to digital money, moving it into real estate, making sure you have all of your preps and then starting to buy things like, shiny metals, gold, silver, lead, brass. And then, figuring out a plan for you and your family, your tribe around you, your crew, your mag, because things could get pretty crazy pretty quick. I mean, when you're dealing with the level of insanity and mental illness and just degradation of our society already, if all of these things that are happening, if they had happened back in the 1950s, it'd be bad, but I don't know that it would be absolutely catastrophic. But when you're dealing with a rapidly growing society of just degenerates and mental illnesses and just insane amounts of drug abuse and hatred, division, violence, all these things are on an extreme high rise in our society, and then you throw in all of these catastrophic things, it is a ticking time bomb, folks, and we need to get ready for it. This isn't fear porn, this isn't terrifying. It's just reality, and we have to face it. We have to face it that it's not 1980 anymore, and we have to get ready for that. You need to be getting your houses in order, stocking up on all the things you need to, food, bullets, gold, silver. If you're looking to purchase any of those things, if you go in that description below this video, the little arrow down, it opens up a bunch of stuff. There are several links to companies that I personally use and trust, and most of those things I just mentioned can be found on those links. So I would encourage you to do that. It helps us out here on the channel. Not only it helps my family out, but a good portion of the functions and charitable things that we do on a local level through our local group are also funded by this channel. So if you happen to find something there that you're looking for, it definitely helps us out. Get your houses in order, folks. It's serious. I mean, a lot of stuff's happening. And don't get overwhelmed and turn your blinders onto it, because it is indicators that we're moving pretty fast along on the end of our civilization. You need to be preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.